Hi everyone, Robin Shea here. This is day 8 of Before the Fourth, the 28-day experience, and this is the evening message. I hope everyone has had a wonderful day. It has certainly been a great day for me. Kelly and I went to an early dinner, so we're already home now and ready to start watching a movie, but I wanted to pop on tonight and talk to you about 3 things, or actually 2 things. If you'll notice on the page, I put up a link to hi Peggy. I put up a link so that y'all can click on the link, and the test that's in the front of the book, the test that's right here in the front of the book, you can actually take on this sheet that's through the link, and that'll help give you your red, green, yellow, or total reactive zone scores. So you kind of know what you're predisposed to as you move into this transformation process. And I think that is really, really helpful. And what I wanted to do tonight was tie it to the 4 archetypes of fitness, something that I came up with that I feel is very important in you determining what your fitness world is going to look like moving forward. You know, fitness is, it's so personal and it's so private, and there's so many ways that it can be interpreted that if we don't have a good grasp on what best serves us, hi Michael Ann, then we're very likely to give up on fitness before it ever has an opportunity to impact our life positively. So click on the link that I provided earlier, take the zone quiz. If you haven't already taken it yet, get your number. And then I want you to look at the 4 archetypes of fitness. So tonight I want to kind of go over the 4 archetypes, and if depending on however you scored, keep track of your score, do a total at the end, and that'll tell you where you fall. But I wanted to look at fitness in all of the different archetypes that I have outlined. So first of all, we have the rebel. And when you have a predisposed, hi Boogie, when you're predisposed to being a rebel, then your greatest fear is powerlessness. And we all know those folks that they push against expectations because they're super, super assertive and they want to stay in control and in power. And, you know, rebels, if you read through this and you're really resonating with the rebel spirit, at your best, you are authentic, free-spirited, determined, and at your worst, you're oppositional, resistant, and defensive. So those are the areas that you have to keep in the forefront of your mind, that you want to pull out the best attributes of a predisposed rebel personality. You want to be original, so you crave that originality, and think about perhaps the the motorcycle gangs, or kind of the fringe sports. You're out on the outside. You crave freedom, meaning you don't like expectations of others. You're not going to do the trend of the week. You're going to be the one creating the trend, okay? Because you have a very unique and authentic personality. You resonate with disrupt, destroy, or shock. So you crave a revolution. You want to shake things up, so you disrupt the status quo, destroy the rules, and shock everyone. So think about extreme. I know my son Mac, who really isn't a rebel, but he is somewhat of a perfectionist. He loves to compete in those hard core events that push you to your outer limits. He loves that. He lives for that. Nobody has to push him. He pushes himself. So a couple things that I wrote about the rebel. You might find yourself fighting against expectations of others. You prefer being independent and would rather give the orders than take the orders. You get annoyed with conformity, and you stick to your convictions and are prepared to live and die alone rather than compromise your freedom to think for yourself. So you really value that independence. And so what I put in here about the rebel, let me see. Hey, rebel, where did you find yourself on the happiness ladder? If you hovered around the bottom of the ladder in the red or yellow zone, you may already be experiencing the rebel struggle. and the struggle is real when you're a rebel if you also frame life from the red or yellow or total reactive zones. You've probably been someone that is a high conflict type of person, which can totally work for you when you learn to move into the green zone. So as a green zone rebel, you have everything it takes to affect massive change in your life and in the world should you choose to do so. Green zone rebels harness the power and energy of high vibration thoughts and use this energy to move mountains. Green zone rebels explore and lead others. They are exciting and colorful to be around. They're enthusiastic and brave. In the face of overwhelming obstacles, green zone rebels show courage. Now, one thing I want you to be aware of is that if you are in the red zone and you do identify as a rebel, then you're probably resentful, threatened, and easily offended. Okay, so if you have rebel attributes and you experience in life from the red zone, that's going to be your struggle. Okay, if you're in the yellow zone, you're incredibly skeptical, very standoffish, and perhaps ambivalent. Just just the way that you view things, it doesn't serve you. It kind of keeps you teetering back and forth and not committing one way or another. However, if you move into the green zone, you're going to be honest, one of the hardest workers out there, and very, very forthcoming. So you'll be the person that people go to for the honest answers, rather than the people that placate others and don't really give them a good, solid, honest answer. So get familiar with this and look at some of the ideas for fitness from the rebel zone. Let me see. What are some of the ideas? Be original. You are atypical, so do not be afraid to try things that are far out, that seem really, really out there. Go ahead and give those a try because they may be just that cutting edge enough that it resonates with your rebel spirit. You want to frame all of your fitness from a freedom perspective. So since you crave freedom, you will resent anything that tells you what to do. So frame your exercise with freedom and choice. A lot of independent weightlifters are going to be from the rebel zone because they just like to push themselves. They like to go within, harness their own energy, and it's me against me versus me. I'm a little bit of a rebel when it comes to my fitness. I love a me versus me world. I wasn't a great team player, and a lot of that is because I have a little bit of people pleasing in me. And the idea of ever letting a teammate down was more than I could handle. I hated the idea of letting someone down. But when it's just me in a tennis racket, or it's just me in a weight, or it's just me in a run, sign me up, because I'm the only person I'll let down, and I'll work like hell not to make that happen. Let's see. Rebels often have a cruel inner dictator. Now, this is true. So if you have some inner dialogue that is very self-defeating, that would be a red zone rebel. Once a rebel learns to silence their cruel dictator and elevate themselves into green zone self-talk, then you're led to a complete lifestyle transformation. So read about the rebel, see if it resonates with you, and think when you look at the right here on this page, I think we're on page 111. Frame your fitness around your predisposed attitudes, and it will be so, so helpful. And it's also very helpful to know how you do on the quiz. What is your predisposition to being in the red, the yellow, the green, or a total reactive zone? So next we're going to look at the seeker. The seeker strives to be unafraid. The idea of committing to one person, one place, one thing, and even one style for too long can feel claustrophobic. There you go. Seekers crave constant self-discovery, but can get lost in the vastness of it all, fearing above all else getting trapped into conformity. This fear and avoidance of conformity leaves them wandering aimlessly. So these are a little bit of your non-committals, the people that will read and read and read and study and almost have analysis paralysis, where they just can't move forward with a fitness plan because they're looking at so many different fitness plans. Seekers value being the brave wanderer and the soul explorer. So just, food for thought, or a little bit of knowledge, insight. My girlfriend Kelly absolutely inspired the seeker. Kelly, for many, many years, she's worked out religiously. And the story in here is about Kelly. And she worked out, religiously, but with a lot of resistance. It didn't come, just a lot of frustration. It was very structured and very in the gym and very hardcore, and you're lifting weights and you have this parameter and you have this parameter. And she did it, but she didn't do it from the green zone. It was often done from the red and yellow zone, or the total reactive zone. So one day she loved it, one day she hated it. And it wasn't until she moved out of the United States into Mexico, and she adopted a much more fluid walking, visiting, enjoying nature, relationships, moving in and out of different kind of yoga practices, whatever that looked like at that time in her life. And she removed the pressure of the conformity of the hardcore gym sessions, that not only did any extra weight just completely melt off of her, but she awakened a side of herself that was beautiful and perfect and just waiting to be given permission to come out. So the seeker is very, very valuable for someone that just is that soul explorer and wants more than the aesthetic, wants the feeling of health, the feeling of vitality. You may resonate as the seeker. So from the happiness ladder, red, yellow, or green zone, let me tell you, if you resonate in the red zone, you're going to feel trapped, discontent, and confused. If you're in the yellow zone, you're going to be restless, flaky, and overwhelmed. If you're in the green zone, and this is such a key word, you're going to be curious, interested, and open-minded. So that is where Kelly lives every day, right there in that curiosity, that taste for life. What can I do next? What do I get to do next? Always looking, never basing her day on a success failure because of her fitness. So, read about that and see if you resonate as a seeker. The next we have is perfectionist. The perfectionist values perception above all else. They rarely take into account the amount of effort, emotional toll, or sacrifice required to complete a task. As a result, people's feelings are rarely considered. A perfectionist often signs up for ambitious goals as a way of highlighting their perfectionism. And I think something interesting about perfectionist, if you're someone that has been in the workforce and you consider yourself a perfectionist, and you sit down and you have an interview with an employer, and you taunt your perfectionism as an attribute, I'm here to tell you right now, as a recovering perfectionist, it's not an attribute. Being a perfectionist actually is something to hide behind, to not launch into action. The book is a direct result of my perfectionism. And I think releasing the book less than perfect in my mind was a challenge to myself, because I had to let go. I had to adopt done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect, because I used that perfectionism to hold me back from moving forward, simply because the fear of letting anyone down, the fear of being perceived as less than, was very overwhelming. So I have a lot of these perfectionistic qualities. And what you're also going to find is that you're going to move and find yourself in a couple of the archetypes. Oh, you're the seeker. Oh, cool, Michael Ann. Absolutely. So as far as the perfectionist, let's take a look over here. Okay. As a perfectionist, when you get started, allow yourself to be a beginner. Realize, perfectionists like to never be a beginner. They like to launch into it as an expert. So allow yourself to be a beginner. Adopt the you versus you. Perfectionists are self-critical, often judging their own accomplishments against the accomplishments of others. Focus on your accomplishments. Appreciate how far you've come and do not compare yourself to others. I can't think off the top of my head where it is, but there is a chapter in here about comparison and how comparison alone is not the thief of joy, but attaching a judgment to the comparison is what can completely derail you. So be aware of that. So finally, be nice. Green zone self-talk is extremely important to a perfectionist. Create a soothing internal dialogue to comfort feelings of discontent, inadequacy, and harsh self-judgment. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you treasure. So I think the story I've written in here on perfectionists is about the little girl that I encountered at the grocery store that didn't realize that the activities, her work within that grocery store was her fitness. If she just switched her mindset just that much, that was her fitness. So I have another example of that, and that is in a very, very dear friend that I've known for many, many years, and she is a housekeeper, and she works her tail off. I mean, she works so hard cleaning those houses. She's up and down stairs, bending, squatting, scrubbing, sweeping. I mean, everything that she does is a physical activity. Yet she called me one day struggling about her fitness. I'm like, girlfriend, what you do every day is your fitness. Allow it to be your fitness. Do it with a little more fervor. Do it with a little more commitment to squatting a little deeper, coming up a little stronger. You have 8 hours a day that you're surrounded with your fitness. So shift your mindset and allow that to be enough and focus more on your food. Because she had the physical activity. Her walk tracker tracked thousands of steps a day. So realize that. Stop trying to make your fitness into something when you're already living a very structured, healthy, fit life. So next, let's look at the hacker. The hacker values competence above all else. Hackers crave an experience-based environment that allows them to play with ideas, theories, and outcomes, all in an effort to achieve knowledge. Hackers think outside the box, creatively, scientifically, and futuristically. They back away from accepting opinions, preferring to test ideas for themselves. It may take years, even decades, for their contribution to be acknowledged, validated, and integrated into everyday life. But you can be certain that the world benefits from these very visionary pioneers. At their best, hikers are intuitive, innovative, daring, independent thinkers. And at their worst, they are know-it-alls, overly complicated, condescending, and avoidant. How many of us know hackers? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I recognize myself in some of those hacker characteristics, as well as my number 2 son, Mac. Mac is a brilliant hacker. First of all, he has a mind that is, he just has a very gifted mind, very much a philosopher's heart. So he can get analysis paralysis from wanting to know too much knowledge. But the rest of us, this book is a result of hacking something that was given to me, this, what I inherited from God on the ground in my hall that day. I spent 14 years hacking the code. What happened? So the world benefits from hackers, but we can also get very lost in figuring out our ideas and our concepts. So it's important for a hacker to have balance. And that's the first thing that a hacker loses, is they lose their balance. They get lost in their research. So from the red, yellow, or green zone, a hacker in the red zone is neurotic. Hello. Neurotic, eccentric, and reclusive. All of those I can check a big yes. I've been that person before. In the yellow zone, they're fearful, procrastinating, and isolated. I've been there too. And in the green zone, they are visionary, creative, and innovative. I've been there as well. So, the hackers, if you recognize yourself in the hackers, you really want to think about teaching. Teaching would be a great way to move yourself from analysis paralysis and into application. You can continue to learn along the way. And that's one of the main things that I struggled with when I was still in the process of learning, and I'm still in the process of learning. I wanted to be the expert teacher. So I would stay in my learning phase when actually I had a lot to teach at many levels. So consider teaching, consider getting a certification in one or two disciplines that you're really interested in. You'll make a fabulous, fabulous teacher. Analyzing is part of your nature. And as a result, you may spend more time contemplating problems than actually creating problem-solving tools. Consider your hacker nature another puzzle to solve, and put your focus on creating tools that move you through research and into action. So action is where you're going to struggle. Forecast through intuition. Hackers are always gathering information, whether they are aware of it or not. And this is the truth. Absolutely the truth. This is often reflected in their intuitive ability to predict the future. They see patterns and are able to predict outcomes. Use this to your advantage when planning your workouts and setting goals. Be your own experiment. So being your own experiment, I'm sorry, this is going a little long. I apologize for that. Being your own experiment is actually something that I've fallen in love with, since I have a solid foundation in 80-20 living, and that really is my baseline for nutrition is 80-20. I can now move into other nutrition plans although there's still challenging aspects of the nutrition plan, I can move into them as a scientist, as a researcher. I can do the keto, I can do the slow carb, I can do the paleo, I can do the any of the other kind of fringe diets, and really use myself as my guinea pig. And I do that for a couple of reasons. I have a very difficult time recommending nutrition outside of the 80-20 lifestyle if I haven't done it myself. So I've fallen in love with being my own guinea pig. So I see myself a little bit in multiple archetypes, as you will too, but having that knowledge will help you structure fitness that's going to fit into your daily life much more effortlessly, much more enjoyably, and for the rest of your life. The last thing I wanted to cover about fitness, and I just lost my page, dadgummit, was, oh, here, wow, I flipped right back to it, was freeform fitness. Physical fitness is achieving a general state of good health, most often as a result of exercising and good nutrition. Such a simple definition, yet something the majority of us struggle to execute for a lifetime. And this is my idea of fitness in the whole. Freeform fitness is the philosophy of allowing any and all forms of movement, regardless of the intensity, variety, and specificity, to move freely throughout one's life with one singular purpose of enhanced quality of living. Fitness doesn't have to be outside of that definition right there. All we're doing is enhancing our enjoyment of living. So I hope that was helpful to those of you out there that haven't quite found their fitness. I've said before, or perhaps not in this session or this class, I'm a seasonal exerciser, so I look to have my fitness change up at least 4 times a year. In the summer, I love to be outside. This summer, I committed to hot yoga, and I've been religious with my hot yoga. I love it. And in the in the winter, I may move more into weightlifting because I love to lift. In the spring, it's going to change again. And in the early summer, it's going to change again. And I love that. I love the fluidity, and I love the movement between different disciplines. So this was just to help you embrace perhaps another idea of what your fitness world could look like. So y'all click on that link in the post below or wherever it is and take the test. See what your predisposition is. Are you a red, green, yellow, or total reactive zone thinker? And how is that going to translate into your fitness world? Are you coming at your fitness from red zone and you're a hacker? So you're stagnant, you're not moving forward, and you're isolating yourself, and you're reclusive, and you're judgmental, and all of the ugly red zone emotions that come with being a hacker. So give some thought to that. I hope that helps you move into a more productive sweat sessions. that you can feel really, really good about and that you can work into your life for the long run. So you guys, please post on the page. Let me know. You guys share your ideas, your thoughts. I hope your plates are looking amazing. I hope that you're sticking to the 5-ingredient rule, that you are carving out time for your food prep. Preparation is everything, everything. So I hope that you're spending some time in your preparation. I hope you've carved out your 20%. Remember to share your 20% experiences with us. I hope you have a journal for your 20%. I hope you have your journal pages that you're doing every morning and every night. Guys, this is the work. To just listen to me get up here and blather about the little bit that I know, but not to do the actual discipline of the journal pages, to actually understand the red, yellow, green, and total reactive zones. That's the work. So, listening to me doesn't move you down the field. Doing that work will move you down the field. I promise you. I want everyone to share with me some of their celebrations, some of their redirected behaviors. Please share it with everyone on the page, because I think it will really help to inspire others to keep pushing if they haven't yet experienced some victories in their day. So you guys have a wonderful night. Keep your messages coming. Know that I'm always thinking about you. I'm always praying for your success. And I'll be back with you first thing in the morning. Have a great night. Bye now.